My name is Gilbert Ramon. I was born in McFadden, Texas, 1923. So I joined the Navy in 1942, I believe. Yeah, I'm sure. 1942. The way I joined the Navy, I saw some sailors in McFadden, and I said I want to be a sailor, you know. So I went to my grandma and asked him if she would sign for me to join the Navy. She said no, because all you're going to do is you're going to get killed, you're going to be, you know, war going on. I said, okay. So it came to my head to go. My real parents were in Refugio. So it came to my head, I said, well, asked my grandma if I could go see my father and mom. I said, yeah, go ahead. So I went up there and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to join the Navy. And Grandma told me, if you will sign, I can join the Navy. So she said, well, I'm going to give you permission. And you know, she was more understandable. I said, okay. So at that time, there were recruiters all over town in station wagons asking kids if they want to join the service. So we fly down a station wagon with, you know, recruiters and say, we want to join the Navy. They say, okay, get on. I was 18. We got on the station wagon, and that took us to Bayville. They had another group over there, so I think they had about 50 ready to join the military. So they took us to Houston, and we saw in, and I think Camp Wallace in Houston, I believe. So it's okay, we saw in. They put us in a train, about 200-300 of us in a train, but we didn't know where we were going. Well, we were going to Great Lakes, Illinois, Navy base, training base. So I went up there and we went to Illinois, and I had a 3 weeks training. After we finished the training, they called my name. You're going to be in a Navy Armed Guard. I said, what that is? I said, well, you'll find out. They sent me to Chicago, right in downtown Chicago. I think they were National Guard base or something. They pick us up. I said, you're a special person to, you know, join the Armed Guard. I said, why am I special? I'm no better than any other. He said, no, what I'm saying is you gotta be a good physical shape. Say good eyesight, good ears, and you know that. It says, why? I say, well, where you going? You're gonna be in a ship, a gunner ship, and we ain't got no doctors in the ship. So we want personnel that in good physical, you know, thing. So okay. So I went to gunner school. First thing is 38 pistol. Took it all apart, throw it on the floor, and said, okay, I'm going to put it together and watch it closely because you're going to have to put it together yourself. So he did that, and well, it took a while, but you know, I could put it together. I said, okay. I said, we got another gun. They said, what you got? We got another 45 pistol. I said, the same thing, put it together and learn how to get, okay. From there, he said, well, now you're going to try the 50 caliber machine gun. Teach you how to shoot it, practice. And he said the same thing. I said, we got to learn a bit about it. After we finished with a few days with a 50 caliber machine gun, they went to a 20 millimeter machine gun. So we finished that, 3-inch gun. He said the same thing, 3-inch gun, you have to know how to load it, you know how to shoot it, you know. And hot shellman is a person that catch the shell when they shoot it, open the chamber of the gun, and the shell come out of there the hottest could be. But you don't grab it, you just throw it to the side because you had gloves all up to you, so you won't get burned, okay? We have to learn all that and kind of how to take care of them, in case somebody, let's say, I don't want to say this, but somebody get killed, you have to take position. You got to learn all the positions in the gun, how to load it, how to shoot it, and how to take care of it. 3 weeks, and that was it. So after I finished training, they call us up, say, well, get on the train. We didn't know where we were going. They said, get on the train, you guys going to go for get your ship pretty soon. They sent us to New York, Brooklyn, New York. Up there, that was my home base for little over 3 years. We got on a ship. My first ship was an oil tanker. So we went to Central America. We went to Cuba, but we didn't go to shore. We just anchored there. But from there we went to Panama Canal, and I don't know what for we went up there. In other words, World War II, everything was secret. Even if you ride home, your letter has to be censored, And then you're not supposed to tell you what ship were you on. You're not supposed to tell you where were you going. Of course, you didn't supposed to tell what kind of cargo it was on. Of course, we didn't know anyway. But that was to protect the ship and the military. That's what I think, So the enemy would, because after I went back to Brooklyn, I got in another ship, and it was loaded. They had the cargo they were supposed to, and they put us in, and they put us in and put the bunker, then, and about early night, it's 9 or 10 o'clock, I heard a propeller, a ship boom, boom going on. I woke up, we were going somewhere. They didn't tell us when we were going to took off or anything, we just took off. And we went to Europe. I went to Ireland, Scotland, England, and Rock of Gibraltar. And we came back to the United States. They took me off that ship and put me in another ship, and the same thing happened. We took off again. We went to Sicily, Italy. We went up there, and after it was still shooting going on, and you can still hear the guns and we went there to Sicily. From there, went to Italy, and we came back again, and got on another ship. Then I went to Central America, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and then you go to Europe. Those ships they didn't travel, I don't know how many knocks, I said about 10, 15,000. I don't know how many miles that is. So it took a while, and before they unload and all that stuff. Like when we stopped in Cuba, we didn't go ashore. Panama, we did. All the little places we did. In England, yeah, we went ashore in Ireland, in Scotland, and in England. So. But I enjoyed the service. Naturally, we had hard times. We did some little shooting, but I talked to guys. They said they made invasions, and I said, and believe it or not, you want action. You want some fighting. Keep you alive. Keep you awake. It's not funny or anything like that, but you don't want to be in a service and don't see action. You want to, with all that training and everything, we can't shoot as machine guns. But we did. Anyway, we were eating breakfast, and the alarm sounded, the enemy was, the airplane was coming thing. And if you're a gunner, maybe you don't think about that, wait a minute or wait a second. Everybody was running to their guns, and we were running. I was running, there was a friend of mine, another gunner, in front of me. So here comes the dive bombers. They dropped the bomb, and when it didn't hit us, but we got wet. When the bombs flew to the water, it hit you. Somebody get killed or came to it, you're supposed to take his place. I mean, no excuse because you had training to use all the guns. You couldn't stop and help them. You got to go to your guns. I mean, that was your duty. That's your first thing. First thing, the machine gun or whatever. Then it takes unmanned personnel to use it. So, I mean, it's well. I don't know, it's, excuse me, but it's sad in a way because I had a friend, got hit, I mean, and how would I say, I mean, nothing you can do about it. Just go over him and go to your gun, and that's it. I thank God nothing happened to me, nothing, I didn't get hurt or anything. So it's been three and a half years in sea duty, and I mean, I'm here. How would I say? I'm glad I did join the Navy. I like it. I love it. So, first thing, because traveling, a lot of countries, that. The one I have forgot was stopped in Puerto Rico, somewhat Puerto Rico. We went in a bar, about 5, 6 of us sitting around. They had some girls serving, and they speak Spanish in Puerto Rico. So this girl was talking Spanish. Said, I don't like that guy, I don't like his looks, and I was just listening. And anyway, when we were ready to go, the girls came over and said, I told them in Spanish, well, I see you girls in Spanish. I las miro. And they got surprised because they didn't think nobody knew how to speak Spanish. So, I mean, something like that. I mean, the same thing in Panama, the same thing, But like I said, if you speak 2 languages, which is Spanish and English, anywhere in the world you go, you get by. I mean, you might not speak the correct Spanish, but I mean, you get along with people. I had a lot of friends for ship, because you go aboard the ship and 50, 60 persons, you got to pick one person to make friends with. So usually you have 2 or 3 friends. Like when you hit the land, you go to shore, Then that's another thing that we had to pass inspection to go to shore. And I used to hate the white uniform. I mean, no, I'm saying when it comes to go to town, because you go to inspection for a uniform and a little spot, black spot in your uniform, you didn't go to the land, you're not going to go nowhere. You stay home. I saw guys crying. He said, well, I had a date, or sorry about it. I mean, you didn't pass inspection. I mean, but like I said, I didn't like the uniform, white uniform, because any little spot will show and you don't go to town. I like the blue uniform. You need permission for everything. They're not going to give you a break and all that. They went by the rules and that was it. I will say it, when you're in 18, I mean, when you're still a kid, let's put it that way. You don't, to me, I didn't feel no fear. I mean, I wasn't afraid to, I have to go through there. I don't know, it was the way it's supposed to be a child thinking or what. But I mean, you want action. We were about, the gunner crew was about 50. Mm-hmm. In other words, to run to shift, you go out and you go on and on. Because a lot of times you used to spend 2 hours on and 2 off. When you hit that submarines or 2 hours, I mean, not enough time to get your pillow. There were submarines a lot of them. There's I don't know if you heard of it, the Navy have destroyers, ships. We had a bunch of, when there was a convoy, there was a lot of destroyers. They run around waiting for the submarines, or looking for submarines. And this sends a submarine underwater and start dropping depth charges. And sometimes all night long you can hear the depth charges going on, you know. When that was happening, we knew there was a submarine around, so they were looking for it. And they used to find it. I mean, they were real good. I mean, we used to see we used to love the destroyers when they come in and say, you know, a little more security with the destroyers and dropping the depth charges. So, you know, I was in a convoy. That's when they invaded Sicily. There were about 200-300 ships, believe it or not. There were all kinds of ships, not only American ships, from allies, you know, from English and different countries. Like if you were in an oil tanker, oil tanker cannot mix with the whole convoy. They got to be a few miles away from the ship, other ships. They were carrying oil, gasoline, whatever. They were dangerous. You know? No, I mean, I saw kind of real big convoys, a lot of ships. And sometimes you see a small one, 50 or 60 ships. That was nothing. You know, when they made the invasion, they had hundreds of ships that's going on. Well, to tell the truth, somebody that tell you I wasn't afraid is not telling the truth. You know, that's one of human nature to be afraid. You pass time away reading or listen to the radio because we didn't have no television, or, you know, get around together and shoot the bull like, you know. But I mean, your time pass away. You got something, running, exercising. You can run a ship. I mean, you know, exercise, and you see guys playing dice, cards, money. Then they have to, they had saved money, a lot of them, but you have money, so play cards, put a couple fights or something like that. But a bunch of people like that, you're not sad because you're busy. You know, either you're fighting or you're laughing, or, there's nothing to worry about when you're budget. How would I say, you don't forget it for a while. I guess it's in human nature, you know. You start thinking about your friends, and I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. But sometimes myself I sit down and start thinking about certain, you make good friends, you start thinking about it, hey, that guy, you know. Most of the people were from Mississippi, Kentucky, let's put it a bunch of hillbillies. Those people are happy all the time. One time, I don't know where we were going, and I think in a Christmas day, nothing to drink or nothing. So here comes those two guys. Hey guys, you guys want to drink? So they said, no, where are you going to get us a drink? You don't know what? They made some homebrew. Those hillbillies, they made some homebrew. That was good. That's the middle of the shit. Yeah, they made it good. I don't know how they made it, but they made homebrew. A lot of those guys talk about cars, you know. The bumpers, chrome bumpers came out in the 40s, I forgot the year. We saw in the paper overseas, man, look at the cars with bumpers, different colors, because the cars were only black in those days. When all different colors came out, it's just say, you can paint your car, everybody want to come home to, you know, have the drink, buy a car, or, you know. We were in England, we stayed there overnight, they had an air raid. So all the peoples in England, they go to Subway for protection. we got that protection, and we went in subways and got in there, and I mean, after the air raid, after the danger pass, the sirens will come on and tell the public, the people, you know, what's all over and all that. I was in New Orleans. They transferred me from Brooklyn to New Orleans, my home port. So they put me on the ship in New Orleans, and so I didn't know where we were going. Like I told you, I mean, in those days they didn't tell you where we were going or where you're coming from or what you. We went through the canal, went all the way. That was my longest trip, my last and longest trip. And we went on a ship, passed the canal. We stopped in Hawaii. We stayed a couple of days there, and then we went to Okinawa. We stopped there. In 1945, they had a big typhoon in the Pacific. So we stayed in Okinawa until the storm went away. So we went to the Philippines, and we unload whatever it was. I can't tell you because we didn't know. We finished unloading, so we got on a ship again and took off. We went to Australia. And we stayed in Australia, Sydney, Australia, 3 days. And you know, just enough time to have a couple of beers or something like that. So we came back to the Philippines, and so we were eating breakfast when all the sirens and ships started blowing their horns and said, "What's going on?" So the war is over. Yeah, well, good. I mean, everybody was naturally happy, you know. But half an hour later, they come in, sirens and everything again. What happened? It's a false alarm. So we waited. But an hour later, it came again and said, "Now the war's over." So, war's over. What happened? I caught malaria.
After the war was over?
Yeah, right there in the Philippines, I caught malaria. They sent me to a hospital ship, Navy ship. I think the name was Refugee or something like that. I can't remember. So I stayed in the hospital. After I got well, my ship had come to the United States, so I don't know where to go. Anyways, I went to wait there about a week, and they put me in a cargo ship. You know, they have a full of soldiers, so going back to the United States, you know. There was another ship behind us tied on the docks, and we found out that ship had beer. You know, cases of beer. So one of they called the captain of that ship if they would give us some beer to celebrate for the war. He said no, nothing. I said, okay. Well, night passed by, and they said we're going to drink some beer. So what we did, got a rope. Navy don't call it a rope. It's a line. And throw it to the other ship, to the crew from the other, where the beer was, and they got it, and they start passing us some cases of beer. So everybody, we had a hell of a good time. I mean, that captain, sorry, he said no, because we had more beer than he was going to give us in a way. And that was it. I mean, like in World War II, when the war was over, everybody was ready to go home. Put me in a bus, somebody, you're going to get discharged, but you got to go to Houston. I went to Houston, and and there was thousands and thousands of people get a discharge. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, there was a line up, but getting line up in line to get discharged. I said, when I get out of here, I'm never going to stand in line for nothing. And sometimes I go to Walmart or something, and I say, no, you can't get out of that. You got to stand in line for something. Got off the Navy, there were no jobs. We joined the Army Air Corps, they call it that. The Air Force separated from the Navy in 1949. I believe. I mean, pretty close to that. They separate. The both win each their way. I mean, the Army and the Air Force. So I didn't see much in the Air Force. I see my first Navy base duty was in they sent me to Panama City. I was stationed there for a while. Then I was in Augusta, Georgia. I stayed there for a while, and what's the other one? I can't think of her name. Anyway, but I like the Air Force too. Like I said, the Air Force, I had my meals on the table all the time. So, you know, especially like I was in Air Force, I made sergeant. You make sergeant, I mean, you got it made. I mean, what did I get out of it? I don't know why. I should have stayed. And that, I had heard that like millions of times. I should have stayed. And came home, there were no jobs, nothing going on. So it happened, a friend of mine came over and said, hey, let's go to California. I said, why? They said, there's some jobs over there. I said, well, no. She said, finally, I said, okay, let's go. Went to LA, Los Angeles, up there, and we rented an apartment over there, right in town, LA. And next day, we went looking for a job. We found some job. I got a job in a spot welding machine. They taught me how to do it. And I don't know how long I worked there. Anyway, I had a bunch of jobs. I mean, I didn't. I was a kid. I didn't know how to, you know. So I stayed there and I find me a job. To tell you a story, I stayed 20 years in California. I worked in the machine shop, and then I moved to a little town called La Puente. I worked for the high school as a groundkeeper. You know, I used to take care of the field, the track, and you know, so I worked 3 years there. Then I moved to San Clemente. I went up there. I put an application for the city of San Clemente in the post office. So one day I got a letter. The city of San Clemente said to go for an interview. So the next day I got a letter from the post office. It said to go for an interview. Well, I kept the city. I worked 10 years for the city there. Then I decided to come back to Texas because I miss the reason I moved back was my parents were getting older, and my mother passed away, and I came to her funeral and things like that. So I said, I'm going back home. I don't want this to happen. You know, anything happened to my father. So I came back, and here I am. I enjoy this service. I mean, it's something you never forget. By my life in the service, I didn't suffer. I'll be honest with you. I had my meals on the table all the time in the Navy. We were in Italy. They were unloading a ship or something, and I met a man in the Army, and they called and said, for us to go eat. You're going to say, God darn, he said, I hadn't had a meal. And this is a meal for years I've been in the Army. I said, okay. So I went inside, filled on the plate, food, and brought it to him. The man, he said, boy, this is gold. I mean, they were used to eat on the ground or, you know, the Army. Well, I like it because, like me, I was born in McFadden, and I didn't even know where Victoria was. See what I mean? So, to me, I was happy because I went to a lot of countries. Ireland, Scotland, Rock of Gibraltar, Algeria, North Africa, Sicily, Italy, and we went to Cuba, Panama Canal, Okinawa, Philippines, and Australia, and I mean, well, how would I say? I'm not bragging about it, but I mean, I'm glad. I know it's true to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I had talked to people and they told me, said, "Oh, you couldn't be into all those countries." I said, "Yes, I can." And then the old saying in the Navy, "Join the Navy and see the world." It's possible.